This month, the Chicago Police Department unveiled a new gun offender dashboard, a publicly accessible website that tracks adults charged with gun crimes in Cook County. Police Superintendent Johnson said it's an effort to be transparent and to hold people committing gun violence accountable for their actions. But the database has also been criticized by community activists and by our guest, Cook County Public Defender Amy Campanelli. She's worked in the Public Defender's Office since the late 1980s and has been leading the office since 2015. Welcome back to Chicago Tonight.
Thank you, Carol. So
the database compiles information that's already public about people arrested and charged with gun crimes. So what exactly is wrong with that?
Well, it's not really already public the way it has. Now it's put everybody together in this dashboard with 1,100 names, and it's very easily accessible. And the problem with the dashboard is that it's called the gun offender dashboard. You just stated what Superintendent Johnson said, to hold people accountable. Well, they haven't been convicted of anything yet. They are not accountable until they have a trial, until they are convicted of the crime they are charged with. As you know, everybody is presumed innocent in this country. So just the labeling of the dashboard, gun offender, makes it sound like everybody on the dashboard is dangerous and that they're violent, and that's just not true.
But if you're charged, and you're charged publicly, whether it is in separate pieces in various files or compiled together, why shouldn't the public have an idea of who is being charged with gun-related crimes?
Because the gun offender dashboard doesn't tell the whole story, right? These are individual people who have individual stories and individual issues in their case. We represented a man recently, a young man, who, when we were talking to him at the bail hearing, lifted up his shirt and showed us that he had 12 bullet wounds in his stomach. Yes, he was charged with carrying a weapon, but he had just testified against someone in court who had shot him 12 times. He was afraid. So the gun offender dashboard doesn't tell you that story. It doesn't tell you the story about the woman who was 40 years old, a Marine veteran who did 3 tours in Iraq, that she was dating a young man and she kicked him out of his home. They broke up. He called the police. He had left a gun in the apartment. He called the police. She got charged with that gun. See, that's what the dashboard doesn't say. You don't know the individual circumstances about these people who are now being labeled as a gun offender, and the public is being misinformed that these people are dangerous, and they're not.
Well, Superintendent Johnson has a different point of view on that, saying that people who live in proximity to their gun, have a gun in the house, have a gun on them, have a potentially greater propensity to using that gun. And while there may be those kinds of cases, there are plenty of other cases in which somebody's got a gun because they plan to use the gun.
Okay, but they're charged with possession of a gun. We looked at the over 1,100 names on the dashboard this last week, from May till about August 4th. 90% of the people on the dashboard are charged with possession of a gun. And the circumstances surrounding the possession, not firing a gun, Carol, not displaying a gun, not using a gun. Possessing a gun is not the same as getting in a car and rolling down your window and shooting at a porch. Let's be clear about that.
Though you have to possess it to shoot at a porch, and so there may be some relationship in some of these cases,
There
right?
may be, and in bond court, those facts are taken into consideration. The issue with the dashboard is that Superintendent Johnson is saying that the judges are releasing people who are dangerous and shouldn't be released because they have possession of a gun. But that's just not true. The people who are being released, who are in fact using a gun, are most likely not being released. And just like Chief Judge Evans has continuously said, and what we found out looking at the dashboard, it's less than 0.6% of the people who are released on bail, who are charged with having a gun, do not reoffend in a violent manner. So for Superintendent Johnson to say that these people may use a gun, they have access to a gun, yes, but that's only 0.6% of the people. We do not hold people in custody about what they may do. We hold people in custody because they are danger or a flight risk. We cannot be arbitrary in our decisions to put someone in a cage until the case goes to court.
Do you understand some of Superintendent Johnson's frustration in this, given the shootings in Chicago, given the rate of violence in Chicago? I mean, is there a solution that he's not seeing, that you're seeing, that you would recommend?
Yes, I think the solution is to get down to the root cause. We've always said that. I've said that on this show before. Why are people picking up guns? Why? Do they need them for protection? Are they in a neighborhood where they don't feel safe? Many of my clients say they don't feel safe, and they're charged with possession, not using a gun. Can we help kids stay in school? Our emerging adults, that 18 to 24-year-old, which is about 25% of the Cook County Jail right now, is that age group. Can we give them other options besides picking up the gun? Can we invest in these communities? You know, can we get better health care?
But those are all questions.
Right.
In search of the answer.
Right.
In the meantime, there are people who are picking up guns and shooting at other people. And so I think there is a desperate search for some way to address it, correct?
There is, but let me tell you the wrong way. The wrong way is to lock up people who are not violent and who are not a danger. Because when you lock up someone in Cook County Jail, they haven't been convicted. Remember, they're just charged with having a gun. If you lock them up, they don't do well. They don't do well when they come out. They recidivate more. So if you let people out who are not a danger and can go back to their jobs or get back in school, get their community to help them, like all the violence prevention, Arnie Duncan, CRED, READY, all these groups that are trying to help my clients when they are on bond, when they come home from the penitentiary, those are solutions. Not pointing the finger at the judges who are doing the right thing. Remember, this same time last year, homicides are down 13%, shootings are down 12%. We're safer with bail reform.
And yet, Superintendent Johnson, and Mayor Lightfoot for that matter, makes the argument that for gangbangers, drug dealers, people with violent pasts, they can bond out in a split second, that they can come up with the money. They can, can't they?
The judges are setting the bonds. Some are cash bonds where you have to post money, but if you are charged with a crime where the judge is given the tool that you are going to be a risk, right? He is going to either put you on the electronic monitoring bracelet. By the way, the dashboard doesn't tell you those people who are on the bracelet. It tells you people who have posted bond. Maybe they've posted $2,000, $3,000, but they're also on the bracelet. They're in their home. That's an added protection to keep the community safe. It's just not true, I'm sorry, what Superintendent Johnson is saying, that people are being released and committing new violent offenses.
Do the two of you talk?
Yes, we do. We meet regularly.
So you had this conversation with him?
Well, I haven't had the conversation about the gun offender dashboard. It was put out a few weeks ago. I wasn't given a phone call that this was happening. So now I've had a chance to go through the dashboard. It took us a week, several of my employees, to look through the cases.
So I'm assuming that there will be a conversation between you and Eddie Johnson.
I want to collaborate with him. I've talked to him about many things that we have in common, and I want to work this out. I want to be proactive. I don't want violence.
Cook County Public Defender, Amy Campanelli, thank you very much.
Thank you.